In the spring of 2025, a video circulated on rebel telegram channels from the jungles of Myanmar. The grainy footage showed the view from a small drone racing toward a helicopter. The aircraft grows larger, filling the frame with each passing second. The video cuts to black at impact, then switches to a ground angle, capturing a flash of orange flame erupting from the helicopter's rotor assembly. Seconds later, the aircraft lurched sideways and plummeted to the ground. Everyone aboard perished. The rebels claimed they'd shot down the Soviet-made transport with a modified commercial drone. The government insisted that mechanical failure brought down their helicopter. Ultimately, the truth is a painful lesson that militaries around the world are learning. Drone tactics have leveled the playing field. The weapons reshaping modern warfare can be ordered online. A country in crisis. Between Thailand and China sits Myanmar, a country previously known as Burma. Home to more than 55 million people and about the size of Texas, Myanmar has been ripping itself apart since February 2021, when military generals overthrew the elected government and seized power. The coup sparked massive street protests in all its largest cities, and now the group that seized power, known locally as the Tatmadaw, battles an array of armed forces. Young, pro-democracy fighters who form militias called the People's Defense Force, and battle-hardened ethnic armies like the Kachin Independence Army, or KIA. Seeking autonomy for their region since Myanmar gained independence in 1948, the KIA is one of the most capable forces in the country. They operate from mountain bases near the Chinese border and run their own weapons factories, producing mortars, rifles, and ammunition. Much of their funding comes from local resource trade, including jade and timber, which flows across the border. With multiple generations of combat experience, KIA units now train and fight alongside PDF recruits and other rebel groups all across the country. On October 27, 2023, an alliance of 3 ethnic armies, including the Kachin Independence Army, the Arakan Army, and the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, joined forces with PDF units to launch Operation 1027, a coordinated offensive targeting junta positions in Shan and Kachin states, as well as key crossings along the Chinese border. For the better part of 2 years, the offensive has seized dozens of military outposts, disrupted key trade routes, and forced junta units into retreat across parts of Rakhine State in the west. By December 2024, the Kachin fighters were battling through the streets of Bano, the region's second-largest city, forcing government troops to remain barricaded in the regional command center, while their jets and helicopters purchased from Russia and China rained down bombs on rebel-held neighborhoods. Since the coup, rebels have shot down at least 8 military aircraft, 5 helicopters, and 3 fighter jets. With Western nations maintaining strict arms embargoes against Myanmar's generals, every downed aircraft is irreplaceable. But one helicopter attack stands out. Taking down a helicopter with a drone. In May 2025, a shaky video of an FPV drone attack was posted on Telegram channels used by Myanmar rebels. The target was none other than a Russian-built Mi-17, the workhorse of Myanmar's military aviation. These twin-engine transports have ferried troops and supplies across the country's mountainous terrain since the 1990s. Built like flying trucks, these helicopters can haul 30 soldiers or 4 tons of cargo, powered by 2 massive turboshaft engines mounted above the cabin. That day near Bamo, one was attempting to deliver desperately needed supplies to the junta's 21st Military Operation Command headquarters, when it was taken down abruptly, taking the lives of everyone on board. Soon after the video's publication, KIA spokesman Colonel Na Bu confirmed his forces had used commercial drones modified with explosives to attack 3 helicopters during the resupply mission. However, the rebels didn't specify exactly what type of drone struck the Mi-17, only describing that it was the type that transmits live video back to operators. This means the model could have been attacked by anything from racing quadcopters, readily available online, to much larger agricultural drones retrofitted for combat. According to the Irrawaddy, the nation's leading independent news outlet, whose journalists are forced to work in exile, the same operation also targeted 2 other helicopters attempting supply runs that day. However, those were reportedly hit with conventional weapons. However, Myanmar's military broadcast a completely different story. According to state television, the burning helicopter from the video experienced, quote, a technical malfunction during routine operations. Mere hours after social media lit up with the rebel footage, the government's account directed blame to the age of Myanmar's helicopter fleet, the challenges of the mountainous terrain, and the strain of continuous operations. But what the official account didn't explain was the explosion clearly visible in the rotor assembly, or why a mechanical failure would produce the distinctive flash captured from multiple angles, or how their version squared with footage showing something small and fast approaching the aircraft moments before the alleged malfunction. Tried and true. The attack in Myanmar's jungle hills is an already perfected and battle-tested technique by Ukrainians, turning ordinary racing drones into helicopter hunters across the frozen battlefields of Eastern Europe. The first confirmed case came in July 2024, when a Russian Mi-8AM TSH transport helicopter fell from the sky near Donetsk city. Russian military bloggers initially blamed mechanical failure, then enemy fire, before finally admitting the truth. A Ukrainian drone, retailing for $500, was operated from a safe distance away by an operator with FPV goggles. By December, Ukraine's elite Bombas Ballista, Special Forces drone strike team, released footage that shocked military aviation circles. That video's target was a Ka-52 Alligator, Russia's most advanced attack helicopter, bristling with sensors and defensive systems, with a price tag of $16 million. The explosion that followed was just one more entry in a mounting casualty list. Since February 2022, helicopters have been falling across Ukraine at an alarming rate. The Oryx intelligence group, which only counts losses verified by photographic evidence, has documented at least 122 Russian helicopters of all types destroyed, with actual figures likely much higher. Initially, Ukrainian forces relied on shoulder-fired missiles and anti-tank weapons, forcing Russian helicopters to fly dangerously low. However, everything changed when the defending nation embraced unmanned aerial vehicles. Unlike missiles, costing tens of thousands of dollars and requiring multiple employees to keep them in the air, FPV drones can be assembled from commercial parts for much less. Since the invasion, Ukraine's workshops, set up in abandoned buildings, began churning out hundreds of these flying bombs weekly. Operators can train on video game simulators, practicing time and time again before making their final approach. Within months, Ukrainian units have integrated drone teams into every level of combat operations. Racing quadcopters, designed for hobbyists, became precision weapons when fitted with grenades or plastic explosives. Agricultural drones, once meant for spraying crops over miles and miles of terrain, now carry heavy payloads. Even toy drones found military purposes as spotters and decoys. The implications of this sudden and unexpected revolution rippled beyond Ukraine's borders. The drone revolution. With this fundamental shift, helicopters now face dangers from every direction. From traditional missiles and anti-aircraft guns, networked air defense systems that can track them from hundreds of miles away, fighter jets with sensors that could spot their rotor signatures, and now swarms of cheap drones that appear seemingly out of nowhere, turning even routine missions like the supply run in Myanmar into high-risk operations. Military forces scrambled to adapt, testing everything from electronic jamming to shotgun-armed door gunners trained to intercept drones mid-air. But these countermeasures are not enough. Drone teams can attack from above, just outside the crew's line of sight. Others come in swarms, from all angles at once. Other operators program autonomous flight paths, allowing drones to continue their run, even if jamming measures sever the control link. What started as desperate innovation by Ukrainian soldiers has become standard operating procedure for armed groups worldwide. Using drone-building tutorials on encrypted messaging apps, Mexican cartels also use weaponized drones to attack rivals and intimidate authorities, slowly turning border regions into full-blown testing grounds. The rebels' success in downing the Mi-17 in May 2025 exposes an uncomfortable truth. The same supply chains that deliver our consumer electronics now deliver military capability to anyone with an internet connection. Drones that started as toys now dictate military planning at the highest levels. Not because they're sophisticated or rare, but because they're everywhere.